I'm Layla from Washington, and I have a really personal story to share today. But before I do, please like and subscribe. My mom gave birth to identical twin daughters, me and my sister Elise. So, of course, my parents dressed us in the same clothes and braided our hair with matching ribbons. But people could easily tell us apart for one reason. Elise was born with a minor facial distortion. Her eyes were a little lopsided, and her mouth was almost as low as her chin. I, on the other hand, looked like a freaking porcelain doll. And everywhere we went, people would ooh and ah at me. She's just too lovely to be real.
Wow, look at those brown eyes.
I have the same color eyes.
But everyone ignored Elise, and it really got to her. I kept telling her she was just as pretty as me, but she wouldn't hear a word of it. And as years passed, my sister grew to hate me. Elise did everything she could to make me feel as sad and angry as she felt. She'd spread rumors about me at school, steal my diary, and once she'd tried to shave off my eyebrows. I was living in fear, 24/7. Worst of all, my parents didn't take it that seriously.
I'll take away her electronics for a week.
That's not enough, Dad. Elise is trying to ruin my life. What if she tries to seriously hurt me?
Oh, Layla, that's silly. Elise is just going through a phase and we would never let her harm you.
They didn't understand, and when I turned 14, things really turned upside down. One afternoon, I came home from school to find Elise in the living room with my parents, and they looked furious with me.
How could you do something like that, Layla?
What are you talking about?
Elise said you locked her in the closet for an hour. We heard her calling for us.
What? Just then, I saw Elise, and she was smirking at me.
I just don't think I feel safe around Layla anymore, Mommy. How can I trust her after what she did?
Guys, she's framing me. She locked herself up in the closet.
And why would she do that? That's just twisted, Layla.
Didn't my parents see how crazy Elise was? Not one of them talked to me that night. They all watched Luna Avatar with a bowl of popcorn while I stayed in my room. But the next morning, my parents did the unthinkable. They made me move into the guest house.
It was Elise's idea. You two need space away from each other. We can't have this negativity in the house.
So you're kicking me out? What, because I trapped her in the closet? I told you guys I didn't do it.
It doesn't matter who did it. The point is, you two are toxic for each other right now. And at the moment, Elise needs our attention more than you do. You have more friends and the world at your fingertips. It's just for a short time, Layla.
I was speechless. I was being punished for literally nothing, and it was all Elise's fault. I moved into our guest house that evening and didn't speak to any of my family members. In fact, I continued to ignore them for the next several months. Sure, it was clear Elise was much happier without me in the house. She made more friends and even picked up a few hobbies. But I was still bubbling with anger. One day, I was coming out of the supermarket when I saw a homeless boy outside with dyed turquoise hair. I immediately pulled out a bag of bananas and some change, but he just laughed.
Whoa, do I look like a beggar?
If I'm being honest,
These clothes are just really old.
I still insisted that he keep the bananas, and the two of us ended up having lunch together. I found out the boy's name was Easton, and he lived in an apartment down the block. He was also an absolute sweetheart. I told Easton all about my home situation and Elise's issues with me, and he had a brilliant idea.
Pretend to run away from home, leave at midnight, and leave a note. Turn off the location services on your phone, and you can stay at my place. They'll get so scared they'll beg you to move back in with them. They might even finally punish your jerk sister.
I was sold. My whole family deserved a little scare, so that night, I sent a text to both my parents to tell them my plans and switched my location to private. I spent the next 2 nights at Easton's apartment. His family was really poor, and I had to sleep on a torn cot, but I felt fantastic. My parents were probably going crazy.
Maybe they think you joined a gang.
Or they think I'm pregnant and ran off to get married. Unfortunately, the fun didn't last long. The next morning, my parents burst into Easton's apartment with several cops. They hugged me and cried for a moment, but then they were furious.
Why would you scare us like this? We had no idea what was going on.
Sorry, but you kicked me out for no reason, and then neglected me for 6 months. I needed to teach you a lesson.
Teach us a lesson? Layla, we know the living situation isn't perfect, and we know we haven't been giving you as much attention, but just disappearing like you did. That's crazy behavior. Come with us right this second.
After that, Mom let me move back into the house, but she watched me like a dog. Elise even suggested I shouldn't leave home without her escorting me, and my parents agreed. Luckily, I could still hang out with Easton, who was the only person who seemed to care about me, and it turned out we'd even be going to the same high school next month. On my first day of 9th grade, I was in gym class when Easton started jogging next to me.
Whoa there, you look ready to faint. Here, take some of my water.
Oh God, is it that obvious?
Don't worry, you still look lovely, even though you're drenched in sweat.
Easton smiled at me as I drank from his water, and I felt a little weak in the knees, and not just because I was tired. I saw Elise glare at me as she jogged by, but I didn't care. As months passed, Easton and I just got closer, and whenever Elise was mean, he always defended me.
You can make fun of Layla's dress all you want, but she's the one who got a party invitation, and you didn't.
Secretly, I had the biggest crush on Easton, but I was way too chicken to ever tell him. I was just grateful to have a best friend. It was exhausting living with a bully 24/7. Then, one day, when I came home from school, my parents gave me shocking news. They'd found a plastic surgeon to fix Elise's facial distortion. They couldn't completely get rid of it, but I'd never seen my sister so happy.
I felt so ugly my whole life, Layla. I know it sounds shallow, but I can't wait to be as beautiful as you.
Elise, look at me. You've never been ugly. But if getting this surgery makes you feel more confident, then I support you. Elise started to cry then and hugged me. I stayed with her in the surgery room the entire time, and she even apologized for how she treated me. And I was glad. I was ready to give up our crazy fighting. After Elise's surgery, things changed between us. Elise didn't seem jealous of me anymore, and even started hanging out with me and Easton. Then, one day, I walked into my front yard and almost had a heart attack. Elise was kissing Easton. Hey, does someone want to tell me what's going on here?
Well,
Layla, I've been meaning to tell you. Easton and I like each other, and I asked him out.
I felt like I was gonna throw up. I pulled Elise aside angrily. How could you do this to me? Elise, I love him and you know it.
I know you love him, and I'm sorry, but I've been hanging out with Easton for a couple of weeks, and we have a connection.
How could you do this to me? Elise, I love him and you know it.
Layla, I'm not trying to hurt you. I really like Easton, and I just want to be happy for once.
I can't take this anymore. You made me miserable for 14 years and then got me kicked out of my own house and convinced Mom to basically ground me for 24/7. This is the last straw. I stormed off and blocked Easton on all social media. He kept calling me to apologize and tell me that him dating Elise wouldn't change our friendship, but I refused to speak to him. The next day at school, I decided it was time for overdue revenge. The first thing I did was attach a bucket of paint to the cafeteria doorway, and when Elise walked in with Easton, pink splashed all over them. Everyone laughed like crazy, and I felt great. I got suspended for a day, but it was worth it, and I didn't stop there. That entire month, I pulled every prank I could think of on them at school, putting spiders in their locker and gluing their butts to the classroom chairs. I felt guilty for being a jerk, but Elise deserved it, didn't she? And Easton was dating my sister, who bullied me my whole life. Then one day, I was studying in the courtyard when Easton walked over to me, and he looked furious.
I've had it with you, Layla. Your jealousy has turned you insane. All the kids at school now are terrified of you.
What do you mean? I've done nothing to anyone, except you and Elise.
Really? Because the bucket of paint from your prank got all over the cafeteria floor, and one kid tripped and sprained his ankle. I'm sorry you're hurt about me dating Elise, but it happened organically. Our feelings for each other had nothing to do with you. I know you're hurt, but don't become a bully because of it.
Easton walked off, and I thought about what he said. Maybe Elise wasn't trying to hurt me, and her falling for Easton was just a coincidence. Maybe I could just be happy for her. So that week, I did everything I could to make things right with people. I volunteered to help as many kids as I could with homework, and they'd know I wasn't a monster. And I apologized to Elise and Easton, and surprisingly, they forgave me. On Friday night, Elise and Easton were celebrating their 1-month anniversary at the beach. So I told Elise I'd deliver them a picnic basket. But when I got there, Elise was sitting alone in the sand, and she was crying. Hey, what's wrong? Where's Easton?
He's not here, Layla. He's not coming.
Did you guys break up?
No, because we never dated. It was all fake. I even paid Easton monthly and used up all my savings. I wanted to make you jealous.
Wait, what? I don't understand.
I thought that after my surgery, people would start treating me differently because my face looked better. I thought I'd finally get as much attention as you. But because my distortion isn't totally fixed, I didn't. And that made me angry. But I can't do this to you anymore. I feel horrible.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Elise kept apologizing, but I couldn't even look at her. I didn't want revenge. I just didn't want to deal with her anymore. Things completely changed between us after that. My sister and I both cut contact with Easton and became strangers to each other. It broke my heart, but I didn't know what else to do. We were toxic for each other. Before we knew it, high school ended, and we both went our separate ways. A couple of years later, I was walking around my university campus when I got a phone call.
Layla, it's Easton. I know we haven't spoken in years, but I need your help. My parents lost their house and are homeless. I'm doing everything I can to help them, but I'm desperate. I'm calling everyone I know for either money or food.
My stomach was in knots. I still hated Easton for what he did, but he was obviously in a crisis. So I bought a bunch of food and clothes and arrived at the homeless shelter.
God, you're an angel. I can't thank you enough.
I'm not doing this for you. It's for your parents. And I never want to see you after this. Do you understand?
Yes, what I did to you was unforgivable. Can I just tell you one thing? I never wanted to go through with Elise's fake dating plan. The only reason I agreed to it was because my family's been struggling since I was a kid. I was always terrified we'd end up living on the streets. It's still no excuse, especially because I was in love with you.
My head started spinning. I had no idea Easton had been suffering that much, and I had no idea that he loved me. I decided it was time to smooth things over. That night, I went right home and convinced my parents to give Easton's family a loan, and then I asked if they could invite Elise for dinner.
Oh, sweetie, that's a wonderful idea. She's doing well these days, but she talks about you a lot.
For some reason, I was happy to hear that. When Elise came over, she immediately ran to hug me.
Layla, I'm so glad you're here. Actually, I got you some presents.
Elise handed me a huge gift bag, and to my shock, she bought me all kinds of expensive presents. Perfume, jewelry, and even a brand new iPad.
None of this makes up for how I've treated you over the years. But I love you, Layla. And if you ever want to have a relationship, I'm here.
Thanks, Elise. That means a lot. You did really hurt me. But it has been a couple of years. I can't forgive you overnight. But this is a good start.
I also know you got in touch with Easton. If you ever want to date him, you have my blessing. It's a possibility. But
first, I want to make things right with you. Though, of course, Elise invited Easton over later and left us alone on our porch.
I'm really glad you and Elise made up. Do you think you can ever forgive me? Layla, I never really got over you.
Wow, I didn't know that. But it will take me some time to trust you again.
I understand that. I'm willing to wait as long as it takes.
Hey friends, I'm Daisy from Betty, and this is my crazy story. Please like and subscribe. I was born to a single mom who was thrilled to see that I was a beautiful baby. Everyone at the hospital wanted a glimpse of me because my mom was a superstar ballet.
OMG, look at her eyes, just like her mom's. Gosh, her eyes, nose, lips, everything screams perfection.
Of course, she is my daughter. She can be nothing less than perfection.
Growing up, Mom wanted me to follow her footsteps and become a world-class ballet dancer. And I wanted that too. Watching Mom on the TV mesmerized me. When I was just 3, Mom hired the best coach for me, even built a dance studio in our villa. When I was 6, I won my first gold medal, and Mom made my routine even tougher. I had to wake up early and practice every day no matter what. I so hated the routine, and I wanted to be like normal kids. Have fun, have friends, and yeah, go to school. So on my 7th birthday, I asked Mom to send me to school, but she totally freaked out.
School? Gosh, among common people, never.
What? Fine, then I'll never ballet. By making me practice all the freaking time, you've already sucked the fun from it.
Saying that I threw the worst tantrum ever and ended up kicking the cake off the table. Well, Mom was pretty pissed, but I was as stubborn as she was, and I stood my ground. When I didn't practice for weeks, she had no choice but to cave in. I was pretty excited for school, but it wasn't exactly what I expected it to be. All my life, I was used to wearing shiny clothes and makeup. But when I entered the school, I felt all eyes on me. The staring and whispering really made me nervous. And I didn't even see a girl coming my way with a glass of slushy in her hand. And we both ended up bumping into each other.
Oh my god, I can't breathe. This jacket costs more than $4,000. You'll have to send it to France for dry cleaning.
Huh? This trash. Gosh, you're a rich snob, aren't you? You should thank me that I dropped slushy all over that ugly jacket. It really looks better now.
And then all the kids standing around us started to laugh. I just ran to the bathroom and washed my face and took off the shiny jacket. I so wanted to be normal. And my first day started off on the wrong foot. As for studies, I learned I had a lot of catching up to do. So I started working my butt off to be at the same level other kids were.
Come on, Betty. It's time to practice.
No, I have to figure out this math problem first.
What? That's why I was so against you going to school.
Seeing Mom lose her marbles, I had to leave my homework and practice. But the next day, when the teacher saw my notebook, she was furious and said I wasn't taking studying seriously. I was made to stand in a corner, and I so wanted to just magically disappear. Kids avoided me, and I was even called the Ice Princess just because I felt nervous talking to people, and they'd already decided I was a snob. When someone thought I was being rude, I was just struggling inside to say the right thing. Things were pretty much the same till high school. I'm dancing ballet and also studying, and because of the many breaks I had to take to compete, my studies were suffering. One time, I came back from school feeling angry because I'd gotten a C on a math test, and the moment I entered my bedroom, a crazy-looking girl hugged me.
Oh my god, stop it! Who are you and why are you in my room? Someone help me and get this crazy girl away!
But the girl just gave me a goofy smile and started saying something in a language I didn't understand. Who was she? Right then, my coach came running and moved the girl away from me.
I'm so sorry. This is my niece Gabriella from Spain. My sister sent her to me. She wants to become a ballet artist and she's kind of your fan.
Just fan? No. I am your greatest fan, you. You are like my idiot.
She means idol. Her English is not the best.
I then got to know that Gabriella was staying at our place with her aunt. But the next day, when I was getting ready to go to school, I was shocked to see Gabriella with a backpack. Turns out the coach had gotten her in the same school as me, and she was even in my class. Bummer. Because I knew how ruthless kids could be towards new students. The entire way to school, I kept telling her how I had her back.
If anyone messes with you, you tell me, and I'll tell the principal. Don't let anyone bully you.
The girl instantly grabbed my hand and started kissing it.
Oh, Betty, you're so kind. I love how you sympathize with me.
Synthesize? You mean sympathize?
Yes, that.
At school, I kept Gabriella with me. I was protecting her like a mother goose. I wasn't gonna let anyone make fun of her. But during our health education class, something bizarre happened. The teacher was giving us a lesson on how to rescue someone who might be drowning and seeing a dummy in the water. Gabriella just lost it.
I save her. Nobody panic. I got her.
But Gabriella, it's just a dummy.
No, Betty, you can't call people that word.
She then jumped in the water and dragged the dummy and performed CPR on it.
Don't you dare die on me. Don't you dare.
The whole thing looked like a scene from a movie. In the end, when Gabriella realized it was actually a dummy, she started laughing. But right then the teacher clapped, saying that she had never seen any kid take CPR lessons so seriously, and she was proud of her. What? I literally can't even. I soon realized I didn't need to worry about Gabriella at all, even though the girl seemed to have an IQ lower than a plant. All the teachers and kids loved her. And I just kept wondering how even worse it seemed like every guy in school had a crush on Gabriella. All the boys would be talking about how cute and funny she was. Every day when Gabriella opened her locker, chocolates and love notes would fall out.
Sometimes I think the school is Hogwarts.
Hogwarts? Why?
Every day I wish for chocolates and I get chocolates. Totally magical. Here, have some.
I didn't get why everyone liked her so much. One time, Gabriella and I were sitting in the cafeteria and having lunch when a guy came and sat next to me, making me so nervous that I couldn't even look up. He was the school's most handsome guy.
So I was wondering if you would like to go out with me this weekend.
I don't think so. I have to practice for a tournament. How about next week?
Oh, Betty, don't get so ahead of yourself. I would never want to date the Ice Princess. Gabriella, what do you say?
OMG, I felt so embarrassed. And when I realized that everyone was looking at me like I was some animal straight out of a zoo, I ran to the bathroom and locked myself in. I felt humiliated. A while later, I heard Gabriella knock, and right when I opened the door, she looked worried.
Oh, Betty, that was so rude of that jerk. Don't worry. I gave him a slap.
But why? It wasn't his fault. It was me being stupid. Why would I think anyone would like me? Everyone thinks I'm a snotty witch. They call me the Ice Princess. But why does everyone like you? How can I be more like you?
Gabriella smiled. Just stop caring. I know I appear dumb sometimes. Okay, maybe a lot of times. But I don't care what anyone says or thinks. Just be the awesome you. Her words warmed my heart and I hugged her. After that day, Gabriella and I started going out together. She would be with me at school and watch me practice on the ice. In a few weeks, I'm going on the biggest ballet adventure yet, and I'm quite excited about it. One time when I went to practice, I saw Gabriella dancing ballet and I was completely independent of her activities. So much so that I told her that she should compete too, and she seemed to like the idea.
Being on the same ice rink as my idiot. Idol.
I couldn't help but smile. Gabriella was kinda adorable. But when Mom found out about Gabriella also participating, she went ballistic, saying how stupid I was to encourage my competition to be in the tournament. But I ignored her. Gabriella wasn't competition, she was my friend. But on the day of the tournament, something bizarre happened. Gabriella wore an exact replica of my costume.
What's this? You copied my design. I was working on this costume for a week. We look like twins now.
It seemed odd, and when Gabriella performed, I was shocked because she wasn't just good, she was fabulous. So when it was my turn, I had to improvise and make my routine look more thrilling. When the marks were announced for the first round, I was in the first spot and Gabriella was second. But still, the press was running towards her, calling her a breakout star.
That girl! She used you. She acted all innocent and adorable. And look, she's stealing your limelight. I'm telling you, that girl is up to something, and you'll only realize it when it's too late. She's a backstabber.
My heart sank, hearing Mom's words. Perhaps she was right, but I had the second round of the tournament to worry about. Now, I went to change into my costume, and when I took it out of my bag, I saw it was torn from the middle. I felt like I couldn't breathe. And just then Gabriella came running towards me.
Who did this? I'll kill them. Huh? Don't act so innocent. I know it was you. Just go away.
Betty, I swear.
Just leave me alone. Mom was right about you. You stabbed me in the back.
But
before she could say more, I lunged at her, and right then Mom walked into the locker room with some people.
See, this is your breakout star using unfair means to win. First she copied Betty's costume and then destroyed her new one. And now she's attacking my daughter.
Well, Gabriella was disqualified right then. Thank God Mom came in right in time and she had an extra costume. So I was able to perform. In the end, I was one of 3 contestants selected for the final round. At home, Gabriella came to talk to me, but I slammed the door shut on her face. I didn't want to talk to a backstabber. Later, I woke up in the middle of the night to get some water and heard some sounds coming from Mom's room. She was talking to my coach.
You're fired. Pack up your things and get out. I hired you to make my daughter the best, not bring in a competition for her. If I hadn't taken matters into my own hands by ruining that dress, my Betty would have lost the title. Take this money and get lost.
She then wrote a check and threw it in my coach's face. What the heck? It was because of Mom that Gabriella was out of the competition. I felt horrible at that moment. I knew what I had to do. The next day, when Mom and I reached the stadium for the final round, I had a surprise for her! After the first contestant performed, it was my turn.
Are you ready? Yes. But are you sure? Never been more sure in my life. Show them what you got, bestie.
Saying that, I hugged Gabriella and took her to the stage. Watching her enter the stage at my place, Mom totally lost it and was running towards the organizers. But I stopped her and told her how I knew the truth.
You stupid girl, and laugh. You have to play dirty to get to the top. So what if I played a little dirty for you? But you blew your big chance.
I don't care. I choose to play fair.
I then ran to watch Gabriella perform, and she was breathtaking. When she was done, the audience threw roses at her, and I could see tears of joy in her eyes. And I was so happy for her. It was no shock when Gabriella was announced the winner of the competition. As she received the trophy, she took the mic.
This trophy was my dream, and I dedicate it to my idol, Betty. Thank you, Betty. Thank you for believing in me. Get over here, girl.
Betty and I waved at the crowd and then hugged. It was the sweetest victory ever.
Hello everyone, my name is Brew and this is my story. Before I continue, please like and subscribe to my channel. I was brought up by a single dad who worked very hard to give me a good life. We didn't have much, but Dad and I had each other and it was enough.
Always work hard and success will follow. Got that, little birdie?
I'll say yes if you buy me ice cream.
Dad and I were close and we would talk about everything under the sun. Well, everything except Mom. Every time I tried asking Dad about Mom, he would avoid the topic like the plague. And eventually I stopped asking. Growing up, I fell in love with music dream to become a singer. And at 19, my dream finally came true when I got an invitation to audition for a famous all-girls group, the Masked Minx. These girls were super famous, but no one knew what they looked like because they always performed with a mask on. I was pretty excited, but the only thing was to convince Dad.
But I've never been away from you, and you're too young to travel alone. What if you get in some trouble?
Then come with me.
I wish I could, but I have a work trip coming up.
I just know if I had a mom, it would be easier for both of us. You could take me on this trip and you could go to work. Dad, well, I guess I am that unlucky. No, Mom, no trip sucks. But I know you're doing your best.
Hey, we're very lucky to have each other. I guess I can make some time and take you. But you have to promise that you'll quit bringing up these stories of your mom.
I promise.
And just like that, Dad and I were on a plane to London. The band had arranged for us to fly first class. And when we finally arrived, I was excited to be welcomed at the airport by a personal chauffeur. Soon after, we reached the hotel where we were staying, and it was also the venue for the auditions. I hugged my dad and entered the audition room, but it was empty. Just then, someone tapped on my shoulder. I turned around and almost passed out. It was a girl, and she had the exact same face as mine, only more polished and prettier.
Okay, I know that we have at least 7 people who look exactly like you, but dude, this is beyond freaky. Who are you?
Firstly, please don't touch me. I hate being touched. Too many germs. And secondly, I am Ava, and I'm your twin sister.
My what?
Ava went on to tell me about how we were twins, and that our parents separated shortly after we were born. She was raised by our mom while Dad stayed back in America with me. She was a singer too, but recently she discovered that she had laryngitis and her singing career was basically over.
I was the one who sent you the mail and called you here. I have a very important tour coming up, and since I can't sing, I need you to take my place. You'll get a lot of money and I won't lose my contracts. If you do a good job, maybe I can get my friend in the USA to sign you for his record label.
Okay, slow down. Can we take a step back? You're one of the masked minks and you want me to sing for you?
That's right.
Are you crazy? I just found out I have a twin sister and my head is already spinning, and I'm so close to having a panic attack. Ooh, 1 second. Even if in some parallel reality this whole thing was true, I would still have to tell my dad about you.
Your dad? I mean, our dad can't know that we've met. I do not want him to get suspicious. Mom has always told me how Dad has hated her all her life. And now I don't want him to take you away. Please, Rue, help me!
How do I even know you're my sister?
Ava showed me a copy of my birth certificate and a few pictures of us together as babies, but I couldn't trust her. So before I agreed, I placed a condition.
I'll agree if you make me meet Mom.
Deal!
Dad was waiting for me in the hotel lobby. I felt so angry by looking at his face. How could he hide such a big truth from me? I wanted to confront Dad, but I also wanted to meet Mom, so I decided to stay quiet and go with the flow. I went back to my room and dozed off. And hours later, I was woken up by a frantic call from Ava.
I need to see you now! Come to the lobby and I'm sending a car!
I got dressed urgently and did as Ava asked. We met at a restaurant where Ava walked in with the most gorgeous guy on her arm. She introduced him as Jason, her boyfriend, and I just couldn't stop staring at how perfect he was.
I need you to convince Dad to pay $100,000 to my manager.
Yeah, he's very cute.
Wait, sorry, what?
I need money, and I promise you will get back much more money when I get you signed on at my friend's record label.
Why do you need so much money suddenly?
To make arrangements for my tour. Why else? Mom spent all the money I made on my treatment and I have no savings left. Please. If you do this, I will take you to see Mom. I promise.
I was a little taken aback, but I wanted to see my mom so desperately, so I agreed to help Ava out. But Dad would never let go of such a huge amount, so my only other option was Grandpa. He owned several big shopping malls all over the country, and he always told me that I could ask for anything. I called my grandpa and explained the situation to him. He was so happy that I finally met my twin. He apologized for not telling me all this time and promised to help with the money. The next day, Ava let me practice with her background singers and dancers, and I got such a rush out of it. She even let me sign some autographs for her fans on her behalf. I loved being in the spotlight. After the practice, Ava and I were on our way back when I asked her if I could meet Mom.
Not yet. Mom just had a minor heart attack last month, and seeing you might put her into shock, so we need to wait. Meanwhile, could you be a doll and get me some more money?
Why? I've already spent enough. Ava, I need to see Mom now, or I will call off the deal.
I asked the driver to stop the car and walked out feeling confused and angry. I wanted to cry because I had just lost my grandpa his $100,000 and I still hadn't seen my mom. I was outside the hotel when suddenly someone yanked at my arm. Jason,
what do you think you're doing?
Listen to me carefully, Rue. You have to get out of here. Ava and her mom are bad news. I heard Ava's mom talking about how they're going to drain your dad's finances. I think you're a really nice person, so please just tell your dad the truth and go back home.
And And why should I trust you over my own family?
Because I know them. I've been with Ava long enough to know when she's lying, and her mother is no saint.
She's my mom too, and I think I'm old enough to know what's right and wrong. So thank you, but I'll take it from here.
Saying that, I turned around and left, but Jason's words kept ringing in my head. I couldn't sleep a wink that night, and the next morning, I decided to finally tell Dad everything, but he was nowhere to be found. So I went downstairs and saw him talking to a strange woman in the hotel lobby. I walked up to him, and when he saw me, he turned white.
What are you doing here?
I could ask you the same thing.
This is Claire, your mom. I am so sorry you had to find out like this. And I know you met your twin. Your grandpa called me after Claire called him demanding for $1 million. We will be heading home tomorrow. I was just saying goodbye.
So you're saying goodbye and I don't even deserve a hello. How is that fair?
Don't blame your dad, sweetie.
Don't call me sweetie. You know why I asked Ava to meet you? So I could stand in front of you and ask you how you could abandon your own child.
I could only afford to bring up one child, and I randomly picked Ava. Not that it was a good decision. She's pretty much useless now.
Your absolute disregard for humanity amazes me. And thank God I never got a chance to know you, or I would be the only kid in the world who hates their own mother.
I turned around and ran to my room. An hour later, Dad showed up and told me the whole truth about how Claire had been using the excuse of raising Ava alone to get money from both my dad and Grandpa. They kept it as a secret to protect me.
You could have told me the truth.
You would have gone behind her anyway, little birdie. I know you that much.
Dad and I left for home that night, but I couldn't go back without meeting Ava. So I asked her to meet me at the airport, and surprisingly, she showed up. I introduced her to Dad. He was so happy, and he hugged her and shed tears. Ava and I sat down and I told her about what Mom had said.
Mom didn't raise me. She gave me up at birth and I lived in an orphanage. I only got back with her a few years back when someone from the orphanage told her about my singing talent, and since then, she's been trying to use me as a money-making machine. I hate her.
Then come with us. Dad and I would love to have you.
I would love to, but I can't. I still have so many debts to pay because of Claire.
I tried to convince Ava, but she refused. And soon after, Dad and I boarded the flight and left. Weeks passed, but I felt an empty pit in my stomach every time I thought about Ava. She was all alone, fighting my dragon of a mother, and I had to do something to help her. So I turned to Jason for help.
I told you, stay away from her. She and her mom are crooked.
My mom's using Ava? Please, Jason. She's my sister and your girlfriend. We have to help her out.
Okay, this might be a long shot, but what if we do a concert as Eva? It'll be like a face reveal tour. I know a few people who could help us. Find a band and we will use social media to spread the word and see where it goes.
And what if I'm not that good?
I've heard you sing, Rue. You'll be just fine.
We spoke to Ava and she was on board. Jason came down the next week and we spent days planning every second of the concert. Even my grandpa stepped in to give us a little money. Our posts on social media were very well received, and soon enough, almost all the tickets were sold out. Then one night I was grabbing coffee when I saw Jason at the same cafe, engrossed in a book that seems like a heavy read.
It's about kids who grew up in an orphanage. I was one of them.
I'm sorry, Jason. That must have been tough.
It was, but it made me who I am. And besides, I found a great family who loves me and adores me. You learn to find family in unexpected places.
Our conversation flowed from there. We talked about our pasts, our dreams, our fears. I shared about the loneliness I felt growing up without a mother, and he spoke of the challenges of growing up without a family at all. I'd never connected with anyone like this before, and it was truly amazing. One night before the performance, I was nervously checking out the stage when Jason slid his hand inside mine. I just hope it works.
I'm sure it will. And Drew, it's amazing what you're doing for Ava. Not everyone has this kind of heart.
Not everyone gets a second chance with their families either. Trust me, I'm doing this for myself.
Jason came forward, gently stroked my cheeks, and I felt my face on fire. And before I could react, he leaned in and kissed me, but I pushed him away.
This is not right. You're with Ava.
No, I'm not. Ava and I were just dating for the public. Trust me, we mean nothing to each other.
She's still my sister, and you and I have to respect that.
I walked away from Jason knowing I really wanted the kiss, but family is more important. So I decided to put my feelings aside and concentrate on the bigger picture. The next night was the concert, and it was a huge hit. We collected a lot of money, and when Ava found out, she was beyond happy. That night, I slept with the best feeling ever. But the next morning, my dad shook me awake, and then he told me the most shocking news of my life.
Apparently, Ava had turned down my offer to move in with me and Dad, and instead, she slapped me with a legal notice for impersonating her without her permission. The only way she would take her complaint back was if my dad agreed to pay her $10 million. I feel so stupid for wanting to help her.
It's not your fault. I guess she's just more like your mom than you thought.
I could not stop crying, because I knew this was going to make me and Dad so poor. I had to come up with a solution before we ended up homeless. So, I decided to approach Ava, but my calls and messages went unanswered. I was running out of options when a couple of days later, Ava showed up at my front door, along with Jason.
What are you doing here?
I ran away. I'm finally free.
Free to do what? Brand me as a liar? I tried to help you, and you threatened to sue me.
It wasn't me. It was all Claire's idea. Apparently, Claire had taken all of Ava's phones, and she was the one who had sent the notice in Ava's name.
I'd gone back home to talk to Ava in person, but she was missing.
I tried to tell her how wrong this was, but she just locked me up. But somehow I ran away and hid at my friend's place till Jason found me. I'm so sorry, Rue.
It's okay. All that matters is that now you're here and you're safe.
I hugged Ava tight, and the two of us told Dad everything. He got the best lawyers. And with Ava's testimony, Claire landed in jail for exploiting a minor against her will and cheating Dad out of his money. She just called the house one day and begged me to take her back as our mom.
I made a mistake. Please forgive me. I'm your mother. You can't send me to jail.
Oh, yes, we can. Just like you sent Ava to an orphanage, and just like you abandoned me and my father, now it's time for payback, and you're gonna get yours.
Dang right you will. Soon after Mom went to jail, Ava and I decided to share our story with the world, and it was very well received. We became famous and even launched our music careers. I sang and Ava played the piano. One day, as we were done performing, Ava hugged me tight and whispered in my ear,
Jason's here to see you. Don't worry. He told me everything about how you both are pigeon heads and were ready to sacrifice your love for me.
So you don't have a problem?
No, dummy. I never loved him the way you do. Go on. He's all yours.
I was so happy, I rushed backstage and saw Jason waiting for me. Without thinking, I threw my arms around him and pulled him in.
I know too much has happened, but I'm ready to move on if you are.
I'm 10 steps ahead of you, babe.
I learned that sometimes the people related to you can hurt you the most, and you always have to be ready for anything.
Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm from Ohio. Please like and subscribe. My parents always dreamt of being world-famous singers, but they could never become anything more than background vocals. So when me and my sister Tanya were born, Dad taught me all about music, while Tanya was Mom's favorite, 'cause she was the pretty one. Everyone admired her emerald green eyes and blonde hair. Once when we were 5, a woman even tried to steal her from the park.
Let go of my sister or I'm gonna scream.
He'll give you $10, kid. Let go of her hand.
Tanya and I struggled until she let go and ran away. Before the police came, Tanya hugged me tight.
Anna, you saved me.
No one touches you on my watch, sis.
Even growing up, she always had everyone's attention, whereas I enjoyed my simple life. But then in 10th grade, things took a wild turn. One day after school, we got home to see Dad being rushed to the hospital. He had a heart attack. A week passed by and we found out he wasn't going to get better unless he had this really expensive surgery. And we didn't have money for it. Mom was thinking about selling the house when out of the blue she got a phone call. After she hung up, she screamed like crazy.
My former agent told me they're looking for new talent and they're gonna pay huge money.
She told us about a music audition that was happening in another week and asked us to grab the opportunity. On the day of the audition, everyone was stunned by Tanya's looks. But when she opened her mouth, they all covered her ears.
Hello, from the other side.
Someone grabbed the mic from her hands or shut off the speakers. I can't stand her voice.
Well, he was over-exaggerating, but not entirely. Tanya couldn't sing a note, not even in the bathroom. A few minutes later, it was my turn, and when I started singing, the producers looked mesmerized.
You come and wake me every night. You say you missed the concept of you and I.
After a long discussion, they announced they were going to sign both of us. But there was one condition. They wanted me to sing. But in the background for Tanya, she would lip sync to my voice.
No, that's wrong. We won't be doing that.
But Tanya held my hand with teary eyes.
Please, sis, you have to do this. We need the money.
But Tanya...
Anna, my love, the future of our family rests on your shoulders. Now, think about your dad. Think about our family, honey.
So, I agreed.
After we signed the deal, all of Dad's hospital bills were paid, and he came back home all healthy in a month. And then it was just me and Tanya and the non-ending music videos and tours around the country. Everywhere Tanya went, people would go crazy for her. These people were nuts. And clearly this was getting to Tanya's head, because when we returned to school after summer break, she started acting like a queen and a bully.
Get out of my seat! That's my spot! Don't you know who I am?
The guy didn't even flinch and kept munching on his sandwich, and Tanya looked as furious as a dragon.
Hey, it's okay. We can take another seat. Maybe he can't hear.
But she just picked up a bottle full of mustard and dumped it on his head.
You've got to be frickin' kidding me!
I'm sorry about my sister. She's a little. Please let it go. I'll pay for your jacket later.
I grabbed Tanya's hand as I pulled her out of there.
Have you lost your mind? Didn't you see he was acting as if he didn't know me? Tanya, you're not the president and you should. Whatever. Anna, you didn't have to say sorry to him. He's a jerk.
Saying that, she stormed away. Ugh, such a diva. Later, after school was over, I went into the music room to practice my singing. But just as I finished, I heard someone clap behind me, and I was shocked to see the guy from the cafeteria. Brandon.
That voice. That's your sister's voice when she sings, isn't it?
Oh God, what now? But he didn't know anything for sure.
I thought you didn't know her and now you know her voice.
I never said that. She just assumed it. I know who she is and now I know her little secret.
You know nothing.
With every sentence, he kept getting closer. As I was backing away, I tripped over something and he caught me.
What are you even doing here? Everyone's gone.
But you're still here and you kinda owe me something. You said you'll pay for my jacket. I'm here to collect the money.
Right? What was I even thinking? I gave him some money from my bag and ran out of there. A few days later, while I was in the library, Tanya came to me.
I want you to go and give this to Brandon and tell him that I want to meet him at the cafe tonight. What? Why? What are you up to now? Didn't you see? He ignored me. He isn't like the other guys who were running after me 24/7. I like him. I want him. I want to make him my freaking boyfriend. Well, then you go and talk to him. Why should I do it? Because of me. Duh. I'm a superstar. I can't make the first move. I don't want to look desperate. Do it for me, please.
Reluctantly, I left a note on his table and asked him to come to the cafe and ran out of there. Later, Tanya asked me to tag along, and just when we reached the cafe, she saw some random people with cameras there.
Oh no, paparazzi. I can't be seen with anyone. My contract doesn't allow me to date publicly. Anna. But what about Brandon? He is waiting for you. Can you please go and tell him I'll see him tomorrow at school? Okay, thanks. Bye.
Saying that she ran into a cab and rode away. Now I had no choice but to inform Brandon myself.
So I went in. Hey, I'm sorry, but...
I thought you wouldn't come and that this was some stupid prank. But I'm glad you're here.
What? Me? Wait, did he think I was the one who called him here? Shoot, I wanted to tell him everything. But he looked so happy to see me and he'd ordered all my favorite food items. I thought I could wait another few minutes before telling him. But as time went by, things just kept getting better and better. He was pretty cool. After our little date, he walked me back home. This was my chance to tell him the truth. But he just pulled me in for a kiss. And gosh, it was amazing. Suddenly, I heard Tanya coming out the front door, and I pushed him away into the bushes and rushed in. The next day, I was looking for him everywhere to tell him the truth. But I found Tanya was already talking to him in the corridor.
Freaking fishes! What do you mean you don't like me? Then why did you show up at the cafe last night?
What? Are you crazy? I wasn't waiting for you. I was there for Anna. I wouldn't date someone as mean as you, even if you were the last girl on Earth.
How dare you!
Tanya slapped him hard and ran out of there, and all the kids were recording everything on their phones. This was bad. I ran after Tanya, but she pushed me away.
Get lost. Anna, I told you I liked him, but you trapped him first. Tanya, stop it. I didn't do anything. He liked me from the beginning, and you sent me to him. Yeah, it was my biggest mistake thinking I could trust you. Traitor? Witch.
She jumped onto me and grabbed my hair, and we broke into a huge fight. Mom and Dad were called in, and the principal showed them the videos the kids had recorded. He said Tanya's behavior was getting worse day by day, and she was suspended for a month. I felt so bad and went to hug her later that night and told her I wasn't going to see Brandon anymore, and she immediately hugged me. But when I went to my room, Brandon was already waiting there.
Why are you avoiding me? And what was your sis talking about today?
Brandon, you can't be here. Get out now.
Hey, why do you look so tense? Tell me what happened.
He pulled me close into his arms and I just melted. I told him everything honestly. And then he looked into my eyes.
I won't force you to like me, but if you do, I won't let anyone keep you away from me, Anna.
He moved in to kiss me, But just then Tanya came into my room with a fire extinguisher in her hand and sprayed it all over us.
I knew it, you ugly cow. I knew you're a filthy backstabber, and I'm gonna destroy you both.
Suddenly, Mom and Dad came running too, and she was taken back to her room, and I was grounded for a week for inviting a boy. We had a big concert soon, and though I was super mad at Tanya, I still had to help her because of our contract. As usual, I was singing backstage while the entire crowd was cheering for Tanya. After the performance was over, she was given an award for star performer. Even Mom and Dad were called on stage.
You guys must feel truly blessed to have a daughter with the voice of an angel.
It's an honor. We're so lucky to have her.
For some reason, I felt really left out and I smashed my mic on the ground. Just then, someone from the audience asked Tanya to dedicate a song to Mom. Holy moly! Tanya made this gesture with her hands. That was my cue to sing every time. But my mic, it was lying broken on the floor. She started singing without me, and everyone in the audience heard her real voice. Oh my God! A wave of silence passed through the audience, and Tanya looked at me super mad. The crowd started chanting that she was a fraud who did lip syncing. They went mad and started climbing onto the stage. The bodyguards immediately took Tanya and my parents away to safety and left me there all by myself. How could they? I ran out of the venue and I was raging mad. I did so much for them and they didn't care about me one bit. But when I reached home, I was shocked to see a huge crowd gathered in front of my house. What in the world was happening just then? My phone went buzzing like crazy with videos and messages from everyone. Tanya's bullying and lip-syncing videos were going viral, and someone uploaded my video as the real singer to Holy Mother of Jesus. I quickly went into the house through the back door, and on seeing me, Tanya viciously threw a vase at me. Just then, I saw all the singing awards and trophies she was burning in the fireplace.
Oh my God, have you gone crazy? Why would you do that? What were you thinking, trying to ruin me?
What? Are you kidding me? It was an accident.
Oh, was it? Or is it because you want some fame for yourself now? Just remember this, you witchin. People hear your voice because of my face. Otherwise, no one would ever pay you, even if you sang on the roadside.
Who was this monster?
You're such a mean, self-absorbed brat, Tanya. I can't believe you'd say that to me when the fact is, you're only a star because of my voice. Without me, you're just a pretty dumb face.
Tanya pulled the scissors nearby and rushed at me with all her force.
You took away everything from me, the guy I loved, my reputation at school, and now my fame, too. I'm gonna kill you.
Thankfully, Mom and Dad came in and stopped her just in time.
Stop this madness right now. I can't believe we were so blinded by your beauty and fame that we never realized what a monster you were turning into.
Dad grabbed the scissors from her hand and threw them away.
Anna, we're so sorry. We've never truly appreciated you for everything you've done for us. You're the daughter that every parent would be proud of. Please forgive us.
Oh, Mom, Dad, it's...
Ugh, you people are just morons. And I'm not letting go of my fame so easily. Watch this. I'm gonna walk out, and everyone is still gonna love me.
Tanya opened the front door and walked out, and all the media surrounded her.
So is it true you can't sing? And that creepy frog voice we heard, was it your real voice?
And who's the real singer? Is she your sister? We want to see her. You're just fake trash.
Just then, a bunch of anti-fans started throwing eggs and rotten tomatoes at her. She was screaming like crazy and pushing through the crowd to get to her car, and well, I was enjoying it. She was totally getting what she deserved. I thought I'd get a better view for my room, so I went up and found Brandon there. I immediately hugged him.
Whoa, the truth's all out now, and I can't believe I'm dating the real star. I'm excited for your famous life now.
No, Brandon, I just want a peaceful life. And if you're with me to enjoy some kind of popularity, you got the wrong girl.
No, babe, I don't care about what you choose. Just as long as I can be with you always.
Hello, I'm Belle from France. Please like and subscribe. Ever since I was born, I've had a mortal enemy, my sister, Jolie. She's selfish and only wants our parents all to herself. She looks like an angel with her blonde hair and blue eyes, and they think she can do no wrong. Only I know that she's actually a devil in disguise. Once, when I was 5 years old, I spent hours organizing my toys in my room. And suddenly Jolie came in and knocked everything over.
Why did you do that, witch?
Why did you do that, witch?
Stop that!
Stop that!
I hate you, Jolie.
You're the best. Jolie?
I pushed her to the ground and she screamed like crazy. Then she slapped herself in the face. When our parents rushed in, she started crying.
I tripped over Bella's toys, and I said I was really, really sorry. But look, she hit me.
No, I didn't. She hit herself.
Stop lying. Bella, why would she do that? Is she crazy?
Yes, that's right. And my parents punished me by not letting me go outside to play for 2 weeks. My parents were so blind. Jolie isn't just the perfect, beautiful example. She also has a cheerful personality in front of everyone, which makes her the family favorite. That means she always gets more compliments and better gifts. On Bastille Day, we had a dinner party at home, and as soon as I stepped out of my room, I slipped and fell into a puddle of chocolate sauce. When I ran down the stairs in anger, everyone looked at me in surprise. But no one was more shocked than Jolie.
Oh, poor Bella, what happened to your beautiful dress? Is that mud or poop?
You know what it is, Jolie. You did this.
Me? I've been here all this time. And why would I do that?
Please stop blaming your sister for everything. Just come now. It's time for family portraits.
And in all the photos, everyone was gathered around Jolie while I stood off to the side in my ugly dress. I felt so sad and snuck outside. No one would notice me anyway. As I was angrily kicking the dirt, I suddenly froze when someone spoke behind me.
Having a bad day?
I turned around and saw a beautiful girl, but her hair seemed a bit off.
Yeah, I am. My sister ruins everything for me and no one even sees it.
Siblings are the worst. I hate my sister. Mom lets her get away with everything.
Her name was Charlotte, and she had just moved to our neighborhood. We instantly bonded. As I was about to leave, I suddenly turned back.
Why is your hair like that?
Oh, my mom loves my hair, so I chopped it off just to annoy her.
Oh, wow. She was so bold. And we both grinned. I already liked this girl. And just like Charlotte told me, I put a snake under Jolie's bed. She was terrified and couldn't sleep for days. From that day on, Charlotte and I became best friends. She went to the same school as me, and having her around made my life so much better. Even Jolie didn't have the same charm over her.
Sure, she's pretty, but you've got a great personality.
That's what you say to someone who's not pretty. Charlotte.
You didn't let me finish. You're smarter and cooler, and I think that makes you prettier than her.
Now you're just lying to make me feel better?
It was great hearing things like that. But I didn't really trust Charlotte, even though she was my friend. The 2 best years of my life were when Jolie went to high school, but soon enough I had to go there with her. I begged my parents to let me go somewhere else, but they completely ignored me.
You guys going to the same school is easier for me. Julie never complains. You could learn something from her.
And she'll help you find your way around the new campus. Right, Julie?
Of course, Daddy. Haven't I always taken care of Bella?
But on the first day of school, she sped off in the car, leaving me behind, so I had to take the bus. When we met at the stairs, she seriously warned me.
Listen to me, idiot. I want you to stay away from my friends and my hot boys at my school. Don't come near me. Don't even look at me. I don't want anyone knowing my sister is from Planet Loser.
As if I want anyone thinking I'm related to the Queen of Planet Bimbo.
Oh, don't worry. No one will be thinking about you.
Then she ran off to join the other pretty girls. Ugh, I hate this place so much. But I was still grateful to have Charlotte by my side. The very next day, as I was walking down the hallway, I accidentally bumped into a guy. We both fell down. He helped me up, and I couldn't help but notice that he was really cute. I definitely needed to find out more about him. But that night, as I was sleeping, Jolie burst into my room with an angry look on her face.
Wake up, ugly! Tell me why you were talking to Alain.
Gosh, you're such a psycho. And who's Alain?
That guy you were flirting with by the lockers.
Oh, him. Why are you so interested?
Because that boy is mine?
Are you two dating?
Well, not technically, we're really good friends, but he's about to ask me out any day. See, I even got a tattoo with his name.
Why are you so lame? He's not even your boyfriend yet.
You know what everyone likes, especially boys? Confidence. I'm completely sure he will be my boyfriend, so stay away from him.
Julia was really intense when she talked about him, which made me curious about how close they actually were. So, while she was in the shower, I sneaked a look at her phone, and it was worse than I thought. She was completely obsessed with him. Her phone was full of pictures of him, including one of them with 2 random kids captioned, "Our perfect family." Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe Julia could be this crazy. And aside from her obsession with Alain, it seemed like she really enjoyed writing all sorts of rumors and nasty comments about her friends. Just then, I heard Julia's footsteps coming out of the bathroom, and I bolted out of her room like a bullet. A few days later was my 18th birthday, and the only plan I had was a movie night with Charlotte. But when we got home, I was shocked to find my parents, Julia, and others throwing a surprise party for me.
What? You guys threw me a surprise birthday party?
Oh, it was all Julia idea.
Looking around, I noticed that none of my classmates were there. It was just people Julia knew, including Alain.
Where are my friends?
What friends? Charlotte. Here, isn't she? I thought it would be a really lame party with one friend, so I invited mine.
So sweet of you, Julia.
No, it's not. You basically just threw a party for yourself.
Stop being such a crybaby, will you? The cake's got your name on it.
I saw her friends giggling, and then they turned up the music really loud and started dancing. I went upstairs and grabbed the phone on Julia's bed. I unplugged the cord, and the music suddenly stopped.
Everyone, listen up. Since you're all gathered here, I think it's time I let you know what your wonderful friend Julia really thinks about you.
She went pale when she saw the phone in my hand, and I projected it onto the TV screen. She chased me around the room to get the phone back, and we ended up in a heap on the floor. At that moment, Alain's eyes widened as he saw all the things about him, and the rest of her friends were glaring at her. Suddenly, they all walked out, and she turned back to lunge at me again.
How could she? You do something so horrible!
You're shocked after all the horrible things you've always done to me.
My parents rushed in and pulled us apart. As Julia ran to her room, they followed after her. I stood up and grinned at Charlotte.
That was epic, wasn't it?
No, Bella, that was horrible.
What do you mean? Julia totally deserved it. I didn't make up those things. She wrote them.
But you're the person who took her diary and then read it out loud in front of everyone.
Wouldn't you do the same thing to your sister?
Heck no. Yeah, we fight a lot, but I would never stoop this low.
I can't believe you're mad at me.
More like really disappointed.
I couldn't believe she was mad at me. As she walked away, her words felt like a slap in the face. And then I just felt angry. Julia had never been good to me, so I didn't have to feel bad about getting my revenge. In fact, I decided to keep going with it. The next day, I went shopping and bought the nicest clothes I could afford and some new makeup. I took my time getting ready for school, and I looked amazing. Julia's jaw dropped when I came downstairs.
Oh, wow. Bella 18 looks good on you.
Thanks, Mom.
There was one more thing I needed to learn from Julia: confidence. So after recess, I took a deep breath and walked over to the table where Julia's friends were sitting.
Hi, everyone. I'm sitting here today.
What makes you think you're gonna do that?
You were all there last night, right? Aren't you glad I showed you Julia's true face?
Well, that's true. I guess you can sit. What's with the makeover?
Well, it is my birthday.
Does that mean we owe you a cake?
Sure, why not?
And just like that, I started hanging out with Julia's old friends, which clearly made her really angry. Charlotte was still avoiding me, but at least I wasn't alone. I got a taste of what it was like to be Julia, and I liked it. Then one day, Alain came and sat next to me in the library.
Hey, Bella. I just wanted to say what you did at that birthday party was cool. Who knew Julia had such a mean streak? And also the stuff she wrote about me. That was just creepy. I almost asked her out, can you imagine? So I was wondering, maybe you and I could hang out tonight.
The guy she liked was almost about to ask me out. It felt great, and we exchanged Facebook contacts. Just then, Charlotte walked by and didn't even acknowledge me, and I went after her.
So what? You're never going to talk to me again?
I don't even know who you are now. Oh, wait, I do. You're Julia's clone. You look like her. Hang out with her friends. Go after the guy she wants.
You know what, Charlotte? It's easy for you to be judged because you don't know what it's like to be compared your entire life to a sister who the world thinks is perfect.
I never thought that. But that doesn't count, right? And don't blame the world. You just see yourself as Julia's sister. You compare yourself to her the most. Give me a call when you decide to be yourself again. Because I liked that person.
I felt sad because I realized I had lost myself, and Charlotte didn't like who I had become. Later, when it was time for my date with Alain, I was about to text him to cancel, but he was already standing outside the gate. Oh no, I didn't want Julia to see him there, but as I rushed out, I saw her with him, and she was kissing him, but Alain pushed her away.
What are you doing, Julia?
Babe, I know you like me and you were gonna ask me out.
Yeah, that was before I found out how obsessed you are with me. You were hot when you were playing hard to get, but not anymore.
Alain, I was there for you when your parents got divorced. We've been friends for so long. Are you really gonna be this way with me? Why are you even here then?
I'm here for your sister, who is much cooler than you. So please get a life and leave me alone.
I had never heard anyone talk to Julia like that before, and she was clearly hurt by those words.
Alain, don't talk to her like that.
Save it, Bella. The last thing I need is you defending me.
Yeah, why are you defending her now after you exposed her, babe? And thank God for that. I almost went out with a desperate loser.
That is enough! No one gets to be mean to my sister other than me! Jerk!
I was so upset that I kicked him, knocking him to the ground. He yelled in pain, and I took Julia inside the house.
You didn't have to do that.
Yes, I did. Listen, Julia, I was already about to cancel the date with him. I'm sorry, okay? Shinloi guy home Joe and your friends, and trying to steal the guy you liked.
It looks like you did me a favor there.
Yeah, but that's not the point. Can't we just give up our dumb fighting already? I don't like who I'm turning into. You're my sister and we don't have to like each other, but I don't want to hate you either. Yeah, I guess we could try that. Good. I gotta go see Charlotte.
As I was running off, Julia suddenly said,
You know, Charlotte likes you, right?
Not right now, she doesn't.
No, stupid. I mean, she likes to you.
I stared at her in shock. Could it be?
I think you're wrong.
I'm not. I know these things. Why else would anyone think you're prettier than me? It's the only explanation. Charlotte likes you.
For the first time ever. Your sisters, right? Shocking, but it's true.
I turned around to see Charlotte standing behind me, smiling. I could feel myself turning reduced. I ran to her and we hugged.
Charlotte and Bella sitting on a tree KISS.
Shut up, Julia. Let's get out of here.